Guys, there is this current movement happening in Mexico right now, and there is this on March 9th.
In the future?
Yes, in the future, on March 9th, there will be a massive protest in the entire country of Mexico where not a single woman or a girl will step foot outside.
Wow. Oh, because of hitting on the catcalling?
No, this is actually a lot darker.
Is it the cartel?
No, it can't be.
So there were two things that happened. First, there was this woman, a 25-year-old woman named Ingrid, who was found brutally mutilated. From her husband killed her and skinned her and figured her body and like removed some of her organs and tried to dispose of her body in the sewer. And so her husband was like 46 or is 46 years old or something. And so that's when a whole bunch of protests started happening. Like, women are just fucking fed the fuck up of women being killed in Mexico.
Just for being women, right?
Just for being women. Yeah.
Wait, so
by men, specifically women. Okay.
So her husband, so the husband just killed her. He went crazy, and then he killed her. And then did he not get in trouble or something? Is that why they're fed up?
Well, no. The violence rates in Mexico are much higher. Like, so when like domestic abuse cases are like insanely high compared to most countries.
On average, 10 women or girls are murdered every day in Mexico.
What?
God. Yes.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's a different world, man. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the wild west.
Femdom or like
femicide.
Femicide.
Yeah, femicide.
Well, so is there like some kind of phenomenon going on with crazy guys out there that are just killing girls for no
it's
reason?
just guys who feel like they can get away with it because their government's cool with it.
Exactly. So that was the first thing, right? And I'll show you photos in a second. But the most recent, the most heart-wrenching one that just happened is the 7-year-old little girl named Fatima. She had just gone out of school. Her mom was running late. So this woman picked her up from school, and they have surveillance footage of it too. And so this little girl was found 4 days later, dead in a plastic bag.
Holy crap.
Apparently there were signs of her being tortured and raped.
Wait, so a lady grabbed her up and kidnapped her.
Yes.
And then Lord knows what the hell happened after that.
Damn.
Yes.
And so my understanding is that Obrador is...
Which is the Mexican president.
Right, so he is like more liberal. He's very against a lot of this stuff, and he's just starting to instate a lot of reforms for things like this.
What the fuck?
Is that true?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but still people are very upset with him, and they're just like what the
he
fuck?
just started is what...
Yeah. But it's because of so long, like, so people for such a long time have just been like graffitiing up the, like, his...
Why are they upset with him? Because he's like too late. He's not moving.
Yeah.
He's been in office for about a year and a half, and so I think
he's a new president.
Yeah, he's fairly new. But
See, I don't know anything about Mexican politics and climate, but I do know that the cartels like won so much influence out there, and also the level of violence and the crazy stuff that they do, like hang their enemies and all that, like they're normalizing violence is like at a different level.
So that's what my understanding is that Obrador is a force that wants to stop or wants to reform a lot of these things, but there's a lot of cartel influence in government.
I heard that they're helpless, because the cartels actually won. Yeah. So then the politicians and the people that want to do something, they can't.
Yeah.
A lot of cases, but there's a lot of resistance too, though. There's a lot of brave fucking people in Mexico.
There's towns, who
are standing up against the cartels constantly.
Have you seen the little kids? They're like 7-year-olds, and like the whole town is armed with fucking guns and shit. And I'm like,
I didn't know Mexico was so crazy right now.
It's been, dude.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
But those little kids, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's definitely a force happening in Mexico against this stuff.
So what part of Mexico is this happening?
So with Fatima, it's happened in Mexico City, and so here I'm gonna show you some photos. So this was Fatima, the 7-year-old little girl.
Dang.
She was just going to school like any other. Oh my goodness, it's just crazy. So this is what at her funeral procession.
So is this something that is recent? Like this hasn't happened like 30, 40 years ago, but then now with all the violence, it's getting crazier. Like with this?
It's just getting crazier.
Yeah.
I see.
And it's just getting out of hand where people are like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Stop killing the girls. So Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Holy crap, that's nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of protests happening, and
Is it a lot of girls that get killed and mutilated, the guys that just are able to get away with it?
I don't know too much about that, but I just know that the people are just fed up.
It sounds like to me there's like straight up serial killers that are on the loose, or just people are even just going crazier because how violence is so normalized.
And not just that, but with the whole Fatima situation is that there are policies that were supposed to be enacted for this particular instance where her mom wasn't able to pick her up. Children are supposed to be taken into like police stations or like special offices, but apparently in Mexico City, out of like 9 million people, there's only one place that these kids are able to go to. So that's why the city of Mexico City is just like, what the fuck, government, do something, like open up more of these offices where the kids could go if their parents are late. Like they should not be out standing in the street getting kidnapped and brutally murdered. Like this is fucking crazy. So yeah, this is one of the, so it's called like El 9 Ninguna Se Mueve, which means like on the 9th, not one woman, not one girl will move.
So it's like a protest to show them, hey, if we're not out and working and whatever, it's gonna hurt the economy.
Yeah, so they have estimated more than $1 billion that it would affect the Mexican economy for that one day on March 9th if all women do this protest. That's how much they will affect the economy. And a lot of the government offices in like different states in Mexico, no, they're actually being very supportive. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, like we won't condemn anyone that tries to participate in this. All women are like, we won't there won't be any repercussions.
I'm assuming this isn't cultural, right? Like there's a lot of dudes out there that are like, man, fuck these other dudes that are fucking doing this.
It doesn't sound like anybody would be okay with serial killers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I mean, dude.
I don't know if it's like serial killers, but like you know, like just a few decades back, like in Asian cultures, it was okay for Asian guys to beat the girls, you know.
Well, that was over here too.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if it's
I
like
don't think it was ever okay. It was taboo to talk about it.
Yeah.
The people were getting beat, like the kids were getting beat, the wives were getting beat,
so
but like
cultural per se.
So I was wondering if I'm hoping that that's not the case, and there's just as many guys as there are girls fighting.
I think it's a global phenomenon, right? Like same way that like spousal abuse was sort of like a thing back in the day, and then now it's not. It almost like the whole world came up at the same time. I think that's kind of what's happening here, where I think people in Mexico, they from my understanding of this shit, because I've read about this stuff, they feel like the laws themselves benefit a lot of the fuckers who do this stuff. And so they're trying to stand up to that shit, right? And then culturally, obviously, too, like from what happened,
patriarchal, too.
that was like a watershed moment of like, fuck you, we're gonna do something about this, but the laws need to change.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm saying is, like, let's say you see a guy abusing his woman, another dude on the street, is he gonna just come and stop that shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
I mean, if you go, even now, if you go to some towns and shit, like the men are still taking off their hats when the woman walks by. You know what I mean?
see,
Like
yeah.
it's.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think in Asia it was even okay to publicly beat anybody. Like the community's gonna come and say, hey, chill out, don't do that.
And even when you go way back, right, like I like to believe in humanity. So like when you think about the Titanic disaster and like women and children first, right? Like that's a bunch of people on a boat in the middle of a disaster. They're all sinking. They don't have to be chivalrous. Some of them weren't, but they all said, you know what, women and children first. Like there's, I like to believe in people and think that they want the best.
I almost feel like we're wired to save women and children as a species because they carry on.
Creators of
right?
life.
Yeah.
But then when you have a situation like this and a guy is kidnapping kids, killing them, leaving them in bags, like raping children, whatever, that is not I think a cultural or
Nobody's
whatever.
cool with that.
It's nothing I don't think anyone sees it as like a man issue either. I think it's a problem with that climate for the time being. Like, for example, right, during war, during chaos, a lot of soldiers, they're quote unquote not themselves because they don't know when they're gonna like eat tomorrow. They're not, whatever. They'll go into towns and they rape and pillage, right? We become the ugliest part of humanity. And Mexico's technically a war zone right now. So it's putting people at that brink of, am I gonna live tomorrow? Survival, there's violence every day. what's normalized is completely different than what we see every day. So it drives humans. I think the lack of resources, safety, all this, I think it drives humans to be like animals.
Yeah, dude, it's no different than what's happening in Venezuela right now, where people have the fight or flight feeling because a lot of their government's kind of collapsed and like their currency's like devalued, and so they can't just go to the store and buy things right now. Like they are very fucked, and so a lot of them are relying on Bitcoin and things like that to purchase simple things for themselves because their own currency doesn't work anymore. And so a lot of people, when they feel helpless, they do things like this, which is beautiful. Like movements like this are what institute change.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're urging every woman in Mexico to not go into the streets, don't go to work, don't go to school, don't even go shopping, don't do anything. Like just stay at home. Don't even go on social media. Like they really want an impact. Like really make Mexico feel it.
That's dope.
And so they luckily they have arrested the 2 people that
Where's that
were
bitch
involved.
crying?
They were involved in the abduction of Fatima.
Well, you gotta remember too that some of these people are coerced. It's like the Nazis, like not everyone here are doing it out of their own desire, will. There's psychos that are controlling.
They might be like,
fair.
if you don't kidnap her, I'm gonna
That's
shoot your
fair.
kid.
But at the end of the day,
This one just feels so senseless.
at the end of the day, who cares? Fucking pick them up.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
No, yeah, I'm not sympathizing.
No, I know,
I'm just saying
I know.
like this is just the nature of evil.
But the end result of your actions to me is what should always be
Exactly.
judged.
So the officials needed to get drones to like capture these guys because they were in hiding. Like one of them was even trying to hide in like their aunt's house, and the aunt was like, "He's fucking here."
I might be controversial right now, but that's why I think the Filipino president is fucking badass. Duarte.
Duarte, yeah.
He came in, he cleaned up one city of all the crime and drugs. He cleaned up the whole country. Now, like, my friend's parents are living out there, and they're like, we seen it firsthand. They clean up the fucking streets. They clean up the corruption. Now we feel safe. And now we feel like we can have real estate
Just when they
here.
were just anyone that had drugs, it's like we're taking them out, no matter
Yeah,
what.
kind
Gangster.
of. They did executions publicly and shit. I don't like it. It's not for me.
I love dictator shit.
Right. So I get it. It's your brand.
Yeah. Okay.
Traumatizing.
That's what I'm saying. Mexico needs a really good dictator. A good guy, not a bad guy.
So this was Ingrid, the girl that got murdered by her husband.
God.
And this was her and her husband.
Damn.
And
He looks way older than her.
he's 46.
He looks weaker too.
Yeah, and so he was found, and he confessed that he had done everything to
Wait,
Is he alive?
is
then?
that because people fucked his ass up?
They kill him?
Yes.
Is he dead there?
He's not dead.
Boom. Fuck that
and also
fucker.
the whole story with Ingrid too. So the people were pissed with the media because these motherfuckers, man, they were publicizing her body and
God.
the gruesome scene that she was.
Mexican media is known for that, right? They show
Yeah.
everything.
Yes, but
Yeah.
this was a they crossed the line.
Really?
Because the people were calling out to them saying like, what the fuck, man, respect her, like respect her.
Seeing like her
family.
naked body and stuff?
I personally didn't see it, so I can't tell you for a
But
fact.
I'm assuming that's
That's
awesome.
what they've been reporting, and then it started this thing on Twitter where they started posting photos of her when she was alive and really and then saying like, this is how I want to remember you. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a mess.
Oy.
Wow.
There's a lot of people I follow in like the special ops community that are like retired, and they're like the movies how like they come back and do that one last mission. A lot of them they're like they can't wait to go into Mexico and start wrecking shit because they like fucking hate the cartel.
Oh yeah.
And they can see that if it keeps spreading, it's gonna cross the border sooner or later.
But I mean,
It already does.
we're a big problem for the cartel too. If we don't handle our drug problem, like if we can stop that, then we stop the supply for
True.
them.
We
to be
fund the
sold.
cartels
We fund
right now.
them. Yeah.
Big time.
It's
time.
global, man. It's not a Mexican problem.
Yeah.
It's a us like the whole world, North American problem, man. Like
Exactly.
yeah.